Hey everyone, it's FANzine Live. It's Tom. We are looking at crowdfunded zines today. This is Systemic. Boy, does it have a lot of contributors to it, some of whom I've seen before. In fact, I believe this came from Arthur Ebuin, who, along with his team, did the California Ink series that we looked at on FANzine Live not too long ago. Go ahead and look it up in our archives. We've got them sitting around. But this, and Simon Burks, who's done stuff with Blue Fox Comics. That's another comics publisher that we've looked at. So both California Ink, the Blue Fox Comics stuff, and then now Systemic, they're all crowdfunded. Nice stuff. Stephanie Williams also, who has done some stuff for at least DC, maybe Marvel. This is an anthology. It's a sci-fi anthology about individual people at the points where societal forces clash. Anthologies, I just talked about this earlier in the week with another book, the one out of the Short Run Festival. Anthology comics are a tough one to do because you don't have a ton of pages. You have to be able to introduce your story, your conflict, and get a resolution within just a short number of pages. And that's kind of hard to do. I've written for one anthology. I did something for Planet Comics number 30 for Antarctic Press, and that was not easy to try to write a nice, tight story. I like science fiction anthologies because not only do I enjoy the escapism of science fiction, but I also enjoy how they're able to use, and I guess you could say the same for fantasy as well. They use analogies for our current condition. And so that's another thing that you can look for when you read an anthology like this. Nice book. It's done as a paperback, a trade paperback. Very nice. Doesn't tell you how many pages, but it is, it's square bound. It's cardstock cover, graphic novel quality, gloss interior. I mean, it's a fine book. Nice looking graphic design. Must have spent a couple bucks on it. You can see that we've got a couple of it looks like probably Ben Crane and Arthur Ebuin did the signatures on this. Nice little touch because they are the editor and logo and publication designer. Friendly Fire. Remember how I was talking about anthologies and the analogy of science fiction? This is a huge one when it comes to that. And the idea is there was, and they have it as a fight between two different types of creatures in this world, two different types of tribes of people in this science fiction world. It is a discussion of a community, a culture that has basically been brainwashed into fighting the other one. And so this little weapon is able to calm their brain down, straighten them out. You tell me that that isn't something that folks in our current culture war wouldn't enjoy. The story is really good. It is very, for being as story heavy, as text heavy as it is, it really does read pretty well. And I enjoy that the first thing they do is the person on the receiving end says, before I take your weapon, shoot me with it first, because straighten my brain out because I need to have it done. Next one is Providence by Ben Crane and Andy Alvis. Love the Art Deco look there. Has nothing to do with the rest of the story, but lordy, that's just a gorgeous piece. Wow, that's great. Shades of Gatsby. This one is interesting because they're talking about how CRISPR edited babies started in 2018 and they kind of just extrapolate off of that. Half a century later, you can use those techniques to correct genetic defects, but the key is you got to have cash. So you've got an upper class of near perfect physically people, and then you've got an underclass that has physical ailments, illnesses, handicaps, those types of things. And so in order to get into this area, this person has to blow basically what little money they have left. But he's looking for this character. The AI inside this guy's body suggests that they really shouldn't be talking to each other. But the guy in the wheelchair has the antique Stevie Wonder album, and his AI assistant just goes bananas saying, oh, you've got to have this. You've got to have this. It's worth a lot. So he gives him a lot less money than it's worth. Then the guy in the wheelchair gets kicked out. Guy goes back to the slums where he lives. Notice that you leave the green, you go to the brown. Even there, look at the transition panel right there. Really well thought out. This guy, he goes and tries to resell the record. The record store owner says, no, it's a replica, because the guy in the wheelchair kept the original. Kind of a little bit of a bait and switch type thing. Richard Fairgray did this piece, Protected. Maybe it's just the graph paper that they use there. It just reminded me so much of Kay Briggs' Sycamore that we looked at here on FANzine Live a while back. But it's kind of neat. He's got a background filled with splashes, almost like ink splashes. And I love the art style. I love the imagery, the cutouts. I mean, this is really creative stuff. I didn't really care as much for the story itself and the storytelling. There's a style in anthologies, and it's not just in small press anthologies or indie anthologies or crowdfunded anthologies, where they do nothing but these kind of reflective caption pieces. It's a little too ethereal for me, but lordy, the artwork on this is cool. This really is neat. I mean, he uses, looks like colored pencil, and then just chops it out and pastes it down on top of his pieces, and then throws in his, looks like digitally, he does a whole piece of paper with this ink splotch, and then he does his paneling and his captioning later. Really neat. This one's called 0 Day Bug in the Cloud. It is done, Pepper is a Japanese artist. Guessing if you look at this artwork, you probably are not surprised because it looks remarkably like manga. The idea is this guy's a game tester, and his job is to go look for bugs, and he ends up transforming himself into a bug and doesn't know if it's a dream, if he never woke up, or is it real. And he's transforming, and it kind of goes into like a body horror type thing. And then at the end of it, he discovers that really what it is, a bunch of aliens are using Earth as a game testing setup, and that he was the bug. Coindo, Comet Next Door. Interesting artwork. Not really a big fan of the way in which they use electronic fonts that doesn't quite look authentic enough. And I'll be honest with you, the story itself kind of lost me, but I do like the artwork. And for being digital, and it pretty clearly is digital, it's got a nice touch to it. Reclaim CA, or California. This is by the gang who did California Inc., and this is a part 1. So this is their teaser for perhaps the next piece of the California Inc. story. A little bit of backstory, a little bit of angst, the beginning of the California Inc. Republic, the private. This is the new corporate country, California Inc. But things didn't go so well. A lot of bitterness. To be continued. We'll see where that takes us. Young lady out for vengeance. And then lastly, I think it is lastly, we have Resonance. Artwork is very YA, done by Kevin B2. The story is pretty good. This idea of a emotion-controlled society where music is the thing that violates, it says harmony protocol violation detected. So the harmony of society, the emotional flatness of society that pushes productivity over everything. You can see how these people are just flat as pancakes here. Productivity is prosperity, citizen. Prosperity is peace. Very 1984-ish, but it's music that breaks the spell. And so they come up with this instance where the electronic surveillance is now analyzing voices. So they're figuring out how they can permanently damage the voices of the people who do the singing, which of course you can't have. Try to instead flood the zone with voice, with song. Kind of a neat little idea. Nice little piece. I mean, like all anthologies, you got a little hit, little miss. I do like what I see here. If they end up doing a volume 2, I'll probably end up picking it up. So that's what we've got. What do you think? Let me know what you think about this type of stuff in the comments, if any of it really speaks to you. And also don't forget, like the video, subscribe to FANzine Live, and tell your friends because, gosh darn it, we talk about everything here and we'd love to keep sharing it with everybody else. So thanks again for watching, everyone. I'm Tom. I'll catch you next time.